Hey there, curious minds, and welcome back to What Is, the channel that dives deep into the questions you didn't even know you had, and sometimes the monsters you definitely hoped stayed in the myths. Today, we're plunging into the briny depths because we're tackling a creature that haunted the dreams of sailors for centuries, and an environment that still gives many of us the shivers. We're talking about the legendary Kraken, and exploring exactly why humanity seems to have such a profound existential fear of the ocean. The mythical Kraken, an introduction. So let's start with our star attraction, the Kraken. Just hearing the name probably conjures images of massive tentacles, crushing ships, and maybe even pirate ship or two. But what is the Kraken truly? Is it just a tall tale spun by bored sailors, or does it have roots in something real and truly terrifying? Origins of the myth, Norse sagas. Our journey begins, as many good monster stories do, in the chilly waters of Scandinavia. The Kraken, or Krake as it was sometimes known, first surfaces in Norse sagas and folklore from the 12th century onwards. Early descriptions painted a picture of a creature so vast it was often mistaken for an island. Imagine sailing along, charting your course, and then suddenly your conveniently located landmass suddenly decides to sprout eyeballs and a few hundred feet of suckered arm. That's a bad day at sea, folks. One of the most vivid early accounts comes from the 18th century Danish bishop Erik Pontoppidan, who, despite being a man of God, seems to have quite the flair for monsterology. He described the Kraken as an enormous animal, the largest and most wonderful of all the animals of creation, capable of devouring men and ships. It would rise from the depths, its massive body creating whirlpools that could drag entire vessels down. When it submerged, it left behind a rich, fertile sludge, which fishermen apparently loved because it attracted huge schools of fish. So the Kraken was not just a destroyer, it was also a sort of deep sea, eco friendly fertilizer. Talk about multi talented. Kraken's behavior and size. Pontoppidan's Kraken wasn't just big, it was cosmically big. Its body, he claimed, measured several English miles in circumference. Let that sink in. We're not talking about a big squid, we're talking about a living, breathing landmass. He detailed how its enormous arms, or horns as they were sometimes called, could wrap around the tallest mast, pulling ships down into the abyss. Now you might be thinking, surely no one actually believes an island-sized squid was lurking out there. And while the more extreme claims were likely exaggerated for dramatic effect, it's the ultimate hold my mead story. The underlying fear of something impossibly immense and powerful beneath the waves was very real. The myth of the Kraken evolved, terrifying sailors and inspiring storytellers for centuries, morphing slightly with each retelling, but always retaining its core identity as the ocean's ultimate leviathan. It wasn't just a monster, it was the embodiment of the ocean's raw, untamed power. The real-world inspiration, Giant Squid. So if the Kraken wasn't real, what was? Well, as often happens with legendary creatures, there is actually a grain of truth, or rather a very large tentacled grain of truth. Enter the giant squid, Architeuthis dux, and its even larger cousin, the colossal squid, Misonychotusis hamiltoni. For centuries, these creatures were almost as mythical as the Kraken itself. Sailors reported seeing colossal tentacles, enormous eyes, and battles with sperm whales, but solid scientific evidence was scarce. It wasn't until the late 19th century that scientists finally got their hands, or rather their hooks, on a complete specimen of a giant squid. And what a specimen it was. While not several English miles long, the giant squid can reach lengths, including its two longest tentacles, of up to 43 feet for females, making it one of the largest invertebrates on Earth. The colossal squid, while slightly shorter, boasts a much heavier and bulkier body, with eyes the size of basketballs, the largest eyes of any animal known to science. Imagine those eyes staring back at you from the deep. These creatures live in the dark, deep parts of the ocean, and only occasionally washing ashore or being caught by deep sea fishing trawlers. Their natural habitat means that human encounters are incredibly rare. But it's easy to see how a fleeting glimpse of one of these magnificent beasts, perhaps a tentacle or a massive eye in the murky depths, could be exaggerated into tales of the all consuming Kraken. After all, if something that big is down there, what else could be? Distinguishing myth from reality. The Kraken wasn't just a giant squid. It was a giant squid on a diet of steroids, radioactive waste, and probably a few too many protein shakes. It was the giant squid elevated to divine ship stinking status. The real giant and colossal squid are impressive, yes, but they aren't sinking ships or forming islands. They're mostly just trying to find some dinner and avoid becoming dinner themselves with sperm whales. Turns out the truth is stranger than fiction, and also it has way more suckers. But the Kraken is more than a magnificent monster story. It's a symptom of a much deeper, more persuasive human feeling, our profound and often irrational fear of the ocean itself. So let's peel back the layers of our own fears and ask, why do we, as a species, seem to be utterly terrified of the big blue wet thing? Primal fears, the unknown, and the lack of control. Firstly, there's the mind boggling scale of it all. The ocean covers 70% of our planet's surface, and the vast majority of it remains unexplored. We know more about the surface of the Moon and Mars than we do about the deepest parts of our own oceans. More people have walked on the Moon than have ever visited the Challenger Deep, the deepest known point. It's a vast, dark, alien world right here on Earth, and the unknown is a primal fear for us land dwelling creatures. What lurks beneath the surface? What creatures adapted to crushing pressure and eternal darkness might be down there watching? Then there's the loss of control. On land, we're adept. We stand firm. We breathe freely. We navigate with ease. In the ocean, we're utterly helpless without technology. Our bodies are not designed for it. We can't breathe. We can't see clearly. We're tossed about by currents and waves. Feeling overwhelmed and out of our element sparks an instinctive panic. It's the ultimate feeling of vulnerability. Specific threats, predators, and the deep. And of course, there are very real, very toothy threats. Sharks are probably the poster children of ocean fear. Thanks to movies like Jaws, an entire generation of beachgoers developed a healthy, if disproportionate, respect for what might be swimming alongside them. It's not just the teeth, it's the silent teeth. That sudden brush against your leg in murky water, and your brain immediately jumps to man eating aquatic terror. Most sharks are harmless to humans, but our primal circuitry doesn't care about statistics when there's a shadow beneath the surface. Beyond the predators, there's the sheer terrifying concept of the deep. Imagine descending into the abyss. The light fades quickly, replaced by an inky blackness. The pressure builds, capable of crushing a submarine like a tin can. And in this oppressive darkness, life takes on a bizarre, often grotesque form. Anglerfish with their lures, gulper eels with their enormous mouths, creatures that look like they've been pulled from a fever dream. The deep ocean is literally alien. It's a place where the rules of our surface world don't apply, and it's profoundly unsettling. Other threats: drowning, maritime disasters, etc. The most immediate and common fear is, of course, drowning. Our very existence depends on air, and the ocean is the ultimate barrier to that. The feeling of being submerged, unable to breathe, is a fundamental, terrifying experience that all land animals instinctively avoid. Then there are broader threats: storms at sea, tsunamis, shipwrecks. The ocean's raw power has claimed countless lives throughout history. From ancient galleons to modern supertankers, no vessel is truly immune to the wrath of the waves. These real-world disasters feed our collective anxiety, reminding us that with all our technology, we are still small and fragile against the might of nature. The ocean demands respect, and sometimes it demands more. psychological aspects, thalassophobia, and evolution. For some, this fear goes beyond a healthy respect and into the realm of genuine phobia. Thalassophobia. It's an intense, irrational fear of deep bodies of water or the vastness and emptiness of the sea. Sufferers can experience panic attacks, shortness of breath, and an overwhelming sense of dread just at the thought or the sight of a large expanse of water. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes sense. Our ancestors were land dwellers. We evolved to thrive on terra firma, to see threats coming, to build shelters. The ocean was a boundary, a place of starvation and death for those who ventured too far out. This evolutionary imprint lingers, making us inherently wary of environments where our natural advantages are completely negated. We lose our sight, our hearing is distorted, our sturdy legs become useless flippers. It's an environment designed to make us feel profoundly out of place. It's basically a giant, wet, incredibly well-stocked monster closet. Connecting the Kraken to ocean fear. So how does the Kraken fit into all of this? The Kraken isn't just a myth, it's a personification of these myriad fears. It gives a face, or rather many tentacles, to the unknown vastness, the crushing power, the terrifying creatures, and the ultimate loss of control that the ocean represents. It's a symbolic monster that embodies everything we fear about the deep. By creating the Kraken, humanity gave form to its anxiety, making the amorphous terror of the ocean into something tangible, something that could be fought, or at least imagined fighting. It's comforting, in a strange way, to have a name for the thing that frightens you most. Ultimately, our fear of the ocean is a complex tapestry woven from primal instincts, real dangers, and the boundless stretch of our imagination. It's a fear that reminds us of our place in the natural world, small, vulnerable, and forever fascinated by what lies beneath the surface. Yet, ironically, this fear also fuels our curiosity, pushing us to explore, to understand, and perhaps someday to conquer, or at least coexist with the mysteries of the deep. What about you? What's your biggest ocean fear? Is it sharks, the crushing depths, or just the thought of something brushing against your leg in murky water? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into the deep, please hit that like button, share this video with fellow explorers, and be sure to subscribe to What Is for more journeys into the fascinating unknown. Stay curious, and see you next time.